anyone. Leave me be. What am I to do?
You sent me to the miller, eh?
What? Well, it was just a sort of...
You're lucky. He really did owe me, and he was so shocked he gave it all to me. What do you need, then?
Do you know there's a girl crying on your doorstep?
I executed her husband.
What? You killed him?
No, not like that. It was done lawfully. She knew he had it coming.
So then, why...
Folk would like to drive her out of town. She has no one here. For a while I thought I could take care of her, but it wasn't to be.
Why?
Do you really have to ask? I can't even go to the tavern for company, and no one would sup their ale with me. And when I die, they'll probably push me into a hole with a stick so as not to touch my corpse.
Is it really that bad?
I'm not complaining, mind. It's a well-paid job, if you don't mind being a pariah. They might look sideways at you, too, just for talking to me.
And that's what she's afraid of?
Exactly.
Doesn't that crying girl have any kin?
None she knows of. Poor lass. You could help her, though, if you wanted.
Me? How?
Elishka has no family, but her husband might still have some kin. Nobody will talk to me, but you could find out more.
Why do you want to find her family anyway? Don't you want her to stay here?
I do. She's a splendid woman, but I'd never want to keep her here against her will. The life I lead isn't for everyone.
What would she have to put up with if she stayed with you?
A lot, I can't deny. Most of the townfolk wouldn't give her the time of day, at least not in public. If we had children, it would be even worse for them.
That doesn't sound like a very happy life.
It's not all bad. It's a well-paid job and even respected in a way. And when someone needs a bone set, all of a sudden they forget your reputation.
How can I find out if there's any family?
Try asking Elishka herself. She knows a thing or two about them. But, in the end, you'll still have to go and find out something from the bailiff, or from the records at the rat house.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
My thanks, if only for the thought.
Herman sent me.
What a way to end up.
Don't despair. It could be a lot worse.
Only death could be worse, and I'm not far from it.
Can I ask about your family?
What do you want to know?
Don't you have any kin left? Someone who'd take you in?
No. They all died of the plague. And then I ended up with that man of mine. I always knew he'd get strung up one day.
Didn't your husband have any kin?
Maybe. He mentioned some, but we never went to see them.
Is that all you know?
Yes. But if they're anything like my old man, the bailiff and his catchpoles will know about them.
That's all I need.
Why me?
are you, Henry? I hope I can be of some humble service to you.
Do you know Elishka, the wife of the man who was hanged recently?
The one that's with the executioner now.
That's her.
Life can be cruel sometimes.
Right. And do you know if she has kinfolk somewhere around?
How should I know? Now, if you don't mind, I'm very busy.
Bailiff, surely you know me well enough to know I solve more problems than I cause.
You're right, I've heard some reports. Talk to the scribe.
Thank you.
I'm honored that you should come to me.
The bailiff sent me.
That's another matter, then. What do you need, friend?
Is it possible to find out from the records where someone lives?
You think we keep records of every serf? For Christ's sake, they breed like rabbits.
But I thought that in the rat house, though, in the books...
Boy, the books are for recording pacts, undertakings, punishments, property rights, and so forth. In other words, important things. We don't keep records of serfs.
Elishka won't be happy about that.
Elishka? You don't mean the one who married into the Mishek family?
Yes. Yes, you know her.
Why wouldn't I? I used to play dice with old Mishek years ago. He had a son, a nice polite lad. How is he?
Oh, you know, he's quite tied up these days.
Well, if you see him, tell him to swing by.
And where are the Misheks living now?
A stone's throw from Ratte by the small fish pond.
Thanks.
Greetings, Henry. What is it now?
I've got information about your daughter-in-law.
Elishka's fine, only she needs...
Never heard of her. Get lost.
She's your nearest kin. Elishka's part of your family, and she really needs you...
I won't help anyone.
Listen, you old hag. If you interrupt me one more time...
Fuck up!
I could make it worth your while.
Really? And what is it you want?
Your son's widow needs help. She has nowhere to go.
What do I care about some useless girl?
With an attitude like that, you must be popular around here. I wonder how quick your neighbours would be to help you if you needed it. I wonder what they'd do if your house should happen to catch fire.
What the?
And if you happen by chance to be locked inside.
What are you implying, boy? Shall I go and get my pitchfork?
She could help you with the farm. She definitely knows how to take care of things.
A bit of help would come in handy. Send her here, then. But don't let her think she'll be taking it easy. She'll have her work cut out.
That sounds quite...
And if I hear a peep out of her, I'll take a stick to her back.
Fine salvation this is.
Good health to you, Henry.
Ilishka's looking better.
She is, but she's not happy. God sent the poor girl great trials.
Indeed.
Did you know her whole family was wiped out by the plague? She was barely 12.
Losing your family isn't easy.
Ah, sorry, I wasn't thinking. So, did you find out anything about that kin of hers?
I have. I tracked them down. They say they'd take her in, but I'm not sure she'd do well there.
Leave that to her. I just hope she'll be better off than now.
You're not crying now?
I'm not. I've wept enough for a lifetime.
It's a bit of a change since my last visit.
I haven't had much luck in my life, but I've always worked things out in the end. Tears are no help to anything.
That's true.
So, did you find out something about them?
I did. I found your husband's father and mother, and they're willing to take you in.
But...
Actually, they died.
Oh my god. So now I'm really all alone in this world. Could it be my fate to stay with the executioner? They do say God moves in mysterious ways.
You're right. I'll have another talk with Herman.
How are you, Henry?
I've heard the way you talk about her, and, would you like Ilishka to stay?
You know, Hal, she was always the sweetest girl. When she came with her family to Ratai, still single, she was a sight to behold. And it might surprise you, but she even had a word or two for me now and again. It grieved me when she married that wastrel. It was a foolish idea, but I always thought maybe she and I could... Well, fate likes a good laugh. Now I've strung up her old man. I have her under my roof. After all the years I was thinking of her. I don't want her to leave, but I don't want her to be unhappy here either.
Have you made your mind up?
I can't decide. I don't know Mishik's at all, but at least I'd have a family.
Herman could give you a family, too.
He's a decent, upright fellow. I've met none better, and that's the honest truth. But he's an executioner.
And what's the problem? That the other women won't chat with you down at the creek? Did that sort of gossip ever interest you anyway? He's a fine man, isn't he? He's willing to take care of you, and he has the means to do it. And he wants you. He's so sick with love for you, he can't even sleep.
But did he really say that?
He told me he's been in love with you for years. He said he always thought you were the sweetest girl in Rattay.
That's true. We used to meet now and again and exchange a few words. Well, he always treated me nicely. By all that's holy, you're right. I'll stay here. Herman,
Yes?
can I stay here with you?
You mean for good?
If you don't want me to.
You can! By God, you can! You've made me the happiest man in the world.
Greetings, Henry.
Thank you, Hal. Thank you.
Think nothing of it. The main thing is everything worked out well.
It did. It did. Thank you. And I want you to have this. God almighty. I've got Alishka. After all these years, me, the executioner, has the woman he loves.
What's going on? The folk in town are talking about you.
They shot on me. That's what.
What? Who did?
All of them.
Wait. Tell me again from the start.
All right, if you want. They caught Peter of Dauba, George Weiss, and a fellow named Harold that everyone calls Frost. They're scum who've been hunted for months. Now they've finally been caught, there's a big execution being prepared. Folk will come from miles around to watch.
Well, that's a good thing for you, isn't it?
It would be, if I was fucking doing it.
Isn't it the custom for you to do all
Henry.
the executions in Rattay?
It is. Not just the custom, but by bloody right. You're not being replaced, they said. This is just a loan of Gallows Hill.
They really did fuck you over.
My words exactly.
So who's doing the job?
They invited Executioner Heinz all the way from Kuttenberg. They say it's going to be a big show. Have I ever fucked up an execution? I always behead them in one blow.
Welcome.
And when his lordship wants to drag out a hanging, I leave them kicking for minutes. If he wants it quick, they're stiff as soon as I drop them. And they push me aside like that, after all these years of service.
What can we do about it?
Nothing. His lordship's decided, and that's that.
Nothing? You think they should be allowed to get away with this?
Well, no, but
You have the right to executions in Rattay, don't you?
I most certainly do.
Then you're in the right. Don't tell me you can't think what to do about it.
The trouble is, they already paid the executioner and he's come here along with his assistants.
We can't stop the executions, unless Heinz drops dead on the spot.
Maybe that could be arranged?
Hal, I'm an honorable man. What the hell are you suggesting?
I suppose not then.
Well, I never. The best thing would be if he fucked up the executions. The famous Kuttenberg executioner can't handle the job. The mob would laugh him out of town and beg me to take over. They'd never invite him here again.
Great, so how do we go about it?
The problem is, I don't know what the sentences will be. They'll only announce them just before the executions, and then it'll be too late to do anything.
Can't we just get him blind drunk?
That wouldn't work. He's no beginner. And even if we did get him drunk, they'd just postpone the executions till he's sobered up.
Would the bailiff know more?
Maybe. But most likely only Heinz will know the sentence. I've got an idea, though. Will you help me?
Of course.
Great. Thank you, Henry.
So where should I start?
Find out from the bailiff what their crimes are, and then have a look in the Black Chronicle at the Rat House.
It goes back before my time. You're bound to find records of some similar offenders in it. You need to find people who committed the same crimes and came from the same sort of background, noble or lowborn. That way you can find out what the appropriate punishments are.
Then come back to me, and we'll work out what to do.
I'll get moving.
And Henry?
Hmm?
They want to do the executions on my gibbet at Gallows Hill. I can hold them up for a while, but probably no more than a week.
I'll bear that in mind.
What the hell are you doing?
Look where you're go. Hey, look out! Doesn't even know how to apologize.
Greetings, good knight. How may I serve you?
I hear there's going to be a big execution here.
There certainly is. It'll be a glorious event for our town. They'll be talking about it for years.
Who's for the chop?
The biggest outlaws and reprobates for miles around. Peter of Dauba, George Weiss, and Frost Herald.
What did they do?
What didn't they do, more like? They caused trouble all over the country.
Who's this Peter of Dorba?
A noble who lost his fortune. He's been holding up merchants for months.
That's all?
At first, but then his gang started getting bloodthirsty. They wiped out a whole squad that was hunting them. He won't walk away from this.
What can you tell me about Herald?
They call him Frost because he's always cool as ice, until he starts. I've seen plenty of killers and thugs in my day, but that one's got the devil in him.
Why?
They say the only thing that'll put a smile on his face is the sound of screaming and weeping. That beast kills for pleasure. When they caught him, he had a candle made from the arm of an infant. For luck, he said.
Christ. What about Weiss?
No one actually knows where he came from, but they say the murdering started with him. He never leaves witnesses. He'd rather wipe out a whole village than take a chance.
Thanks, bailiff. That's all I need to know.
Hey!
I need your advice.
Did you find out what they did? And did you read the Black Chronicle?
Yes.
So tell me what you found out, and I'll see what I can come up with.
Just bear in mind, I can help you work it out, but you'll only find exactly what you need in the Ratai Black Chronicle. Every executioner has his own way of doing things, and this bastard might have different methods in mind.
Peter of Dorba has many murders on his soul, but he's still a nobleman. His neck is going on the block.
That makes sense. His crimes are great, but he's still a nobleman, so he gets an honorable death.
George Weiss is a bloodthirsty bastard who left a trail of corpses behind him. He hasn't earned an honorable death. He's for a long drop on a short rope.
A murderer deserves nothing better. That makes sense.
Frost Herald is the worst of them all, sent by Satan himself. The things he's done would make a demon blanch. The executioner will take his time with that one. He'll be begging to die. If I read correctly, it'll start with ripping the flesh.
Aye, could be. He deserves nothing better.
So, have we got everything we need?
We've covered all the possibilities. There's nothing more we can think up.
So, what's the plan then?
An executioner's greatest boast is to behead with one blow. That's why an executioner's sword needs to be a splendid piece of craftsmanship and sharp as a razor.
I follow you, but how can I get to the sword?
It won't be easy. The executioner's sword is one of his most valuable instruments.
So I'll have to steal it, dull the blade, and put it back before anyone notices?
Yes, that's probably the only way.
That'll be interesting. That'll do me.
With ripping of the flesh, the bastard has to suffer, but survive as long as possible.
So, if Herald drops dead right at the start...
The executioner will look like a fool.
But how can I make sure it happens?
I don't know. It depends on the skill of the executioner. An experienced one starts in places where there's no threat of heavy bleeding, the sides, the chest.
And the Kuttenberg executioner is definitely experienced.
No doubt. They use a kind of special tongs, and in between the ripping, the convict's wounds are treated so he can take more.
What if I get the one who's supposed to dress the wounds drunk?
Don't do that. It could be someone from Ratai, and even if it isn't, the blame wouldn't fall on the executioner.
Maybe the tongs could be spiked with something nasty.
And you'd know what to use?
I know a little, and I might be able to get something.
That would work. Good idea, Hal.
That'll do me. What about the hanging?
If the rope breaks when it's done, it's an unbelievable disgrace for the executioner. Folk see it as the will of God, and sometimes he even has to let the condemned man go.
I could shoot the rope through from a distance with an arrow.
Don't be daft. No, you couldn't.
But I'm...
Where did you get such a stupid idea? From some wench? Even if you somehow hit it, that rope's much too strong.
Well...
And even if you did manage to shoot it through, do you really think nobody would notice?
Maybe it's not the best plan I've ever come up with.
I certainly hope not.
What about switching it?
That could work. I've got an old rope here I don't use anymore. It looks fine, but it's rotten. It'll be perfect.
Great, I'll use that. That'll do me. Thanks. It'll never hold the weight of a grown man.
No.
If you try for anyone with this, the lucky fellow will die quickly. There we go. Now to get it back to the executioner. There. You couldn't chop the head off a chicken with this.
Is that all you've got? What's the matter? Come on.
Welcome, Henry.
About the executions.
Is it done? Can I let them get on with the executions now?
Yes.
Now all we have to do is go and enjoy the show.
Into your hands, Lord,
commend my spirit. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, who redeemed me by his precious blood, have mercy on me and lead me to eternal glory. Amen.
What the f...
How are you, Henry? Did you see that? An utter disgrace.
It certainly was. The executioner couldn't hold his head high after that.
True. The whole crowd was looking forward to it, and right at the start he fucked up the beheading. And then he took the tongs and... and the fellow kicked the bucket right away. Jesus, how he gaped. and then furious as a rabid dog, furious, he grabs the last one. And he wasn't even able to hang him. I'll be forever grateful to you, Hal. You saved my job, and you deserve a reward for it.
Thank you.
What is it?